So, Texas visual artist Deborah Roberts, she's taking the gloves off for International Women's Day. Girl Power is a contest theme in her collage work that examines ideas on identity and critiques perceptions of ideal beauty. And she shared this empowering message with Arise News from her studio in Austin.
Happy International Women's Day. One way to celebrate International Women's Day is by asserting one's own independence. And my work deals with beauty, identity, colorism, asserting anything that is positive in your life and moving forward. Happy Independence Day, ladies.
Thanks, Deborah. And you can check out the work of Deborah Roberts currently on view at the Jenkins Johnson Gallery in San Francisco until March 20th. Now, our next guest, Delano Dunn, is an artist who is also inspired by the women in his life. He uses collage and images of women to tell the story of the Black experience in America. Welcome, Delano.
Thanks for having me here.
So there's so much about your work, but if you could just explain a little bit about how you work and what media do you use right now?
So right now it's a combination of a lot of different things. I use vintage wallpapers, I use mylar, wood, historic imagery, and all of these things are sort of put together to add a layer of, a physical layer of history within the work as well as a research layer of history.
A physical layer of history as well as a research layer of history, but it's all through the female experience.
In most cases, yeah. So in one particular body of work, I am using wallpapers and wood veneer, and the wallpapers they predate 1960, and that's to represent the domestic aspect of the civil rights movement. And it's important to realize that a huge number of the participants of the civil rights movement are women. In fact, that movement probably doesn't have the power and the force that was needed without the support of many of these women.
Is that why you were inspired by the women?
I'm inspired by them because I grew up in a household full of strong women. I'm married, my wife is a strong woman, and she comes from a line of strong women, and my daughter is already on her way to becoming a strong woman.
I want you to just look where we're showing an image of your work.
Yeah.
Describe that for a moment.
Yeah, so this is from the series The Ways of White Folks, which is part of a larger body of work called No One Can Be This Tomorrow. And within those particular works, it's, there was a point during the election where I thought, my daughter will only have known a black president and then potentially a woman president. And this was, mind-blowing to me. But like most people, you get blinded by that optimism. And within those works, the rainbow represents that optimism that is sort of oppressing and preventing us from really keeping our eye on the ball and, getting across the finish line.
When we were talking with you earlier, you mentioned that you really want to put the focus on black women. Why?
So, if you go back and look at the documents around the time of emancipation, black women are completely left out of it. And all of the language talks about, granting, these rights to black men. And I think if you really look at the history of art and how, the black male body is celebrated quite a bit, and that's explored a lot. But, I just feel like black women have not been given their fair share, and I feel like, given my history, where I come from, that it's important to highlight that, and as well as to show my daughter that I can highlight that.
So we know you have a daughter, you have a son, but as
Yes.
a father, how does that influence your art?
So before I pursued my art career professionally, I worked a 9-to-5 job like most people. But when I had my daughter, I thought, and my wife thought, I should quit my job and pursue this career because I wanted to show her that success in life isn't based necessarily on finances. Your definition of success can take many different forms, and for me, it was showing her that I can pursue this dream and that I can contribute to the family income and still do what I love to do my passion. And I want her to know that these things are possible and that we don't, as parents, expect her to become a lawyer or a doctor. I just want her to be happy, same thing with my son, and to pursue the things that make them happiest.
What message does it send to your boy?
Hopefully to Cooper, which is his name, it sends a message to him that there is nothing that justifies him thinking that he is any better than a woman because he's a man, and that it is about equality, and that he should look to his mother, his grandmother, his sister as an example of what it means to be a strong, independent, and amazing woman.
What about your work? Now, your work, I've seen a couple of pieces of it, but which one speaks the most to you?
The one that speaks the most to me are, works from the ways of white folks. And
the ways of white folks?
Yeah, and it really is because it's, I don't normally work in what's going on currently. I usually look at the past to sort of reference the current. And when I started working on those pieces, I thought a lot about how we're in this predicament today in the country, and they just sort of spoke to me at the time, and they still do. There's something about them that just really, are dear to me.
So where can we actually see your work? Where do you actually show it?
So right now I have some work at Spring Break Art Fair, and a show curated by Dan Holm. That's at 4 Times Square in room 2357. There's a lot of great work there. And in late May, I will have a solo project at Project for Empty Space, as well as at Long Gallery in Harlem. And then some other stuff at the end.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. I mean, it's International Women's Day, and it's good to have men who are speaking up for the female experience. Thank you.
Thanks. I appreciate being here.